She walked into court frail, alone, and holding a handbag. But when the judge asked her how she pleaded, she didn't hesitate. She said, "I'm not going to waste your time. I'm guilty." What happened next didn't just shock the courtroom, touched the hearts of millions. This is the story of a grandmother who broke the law to feed love.
The courtroom was unusually crowded that morning. People shifted in their seats, waiting for their names to be called. Lawyers whispered to clients. Officers stood near the exits. And the judge flipped through his paperwork. It was just another busy day at the courthouse. That is, until they called the next case. State versus Edith Thompson, the bailiff announced. All eyes turned to the entrance. A frail old woman, walking with slow, careful steps, entered the room. Her hands shook slightly as she held a small cloth handbag. Her clothes were worn but clean. She looked like someone's grandmother, soft-spoken and tired from life. She stood before the judge, barely reaching the microphone, and then spoke clearly. "Your Honor," she said, "I'm not going to waste your time. I'm guilty." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the room. People looked at one another in confusion. No one expected that. Not from her. The judge paused and looked up. He studied her face, full of wrinkles and sorrow, and asked gently, "Ma'am, you're confessing to shoplifting?" She nodded. "Yes, sir. I stole a loaf of bread from the market on 5th Street. Do you have a lawyer?" he asked. "No, Your Honor," she replied. "I don't have money for one." The atmosphere changed. It wasn't just another petty theft case anymore. This wasn't a hardened criminal. This was a fragile old lady standing alone in court, confessing to a crime she didn't deny without excuses, without argument. Something about her honesty struck a chord with everyone watching. She wasn't here to fight or beg. She was here to own what she did. But what no one knew yet was why.
The judge leaned forward with curiosity and concern. "Mrs. Thompson," he said, "I appreciate your honesty, but I need to understand why you did it. You're 82 years old. You've never been in trouble with the law. Why now?" She sighed deeply and adjusted her glasses, her voice trembling slightly but still firm. "I stole the bread because my grandchildren were hungry. Their parents, my daughter and her husband, died in a car accident 8 months ago. Since then, I've been raising the kids on my own." A heavy silence fell over the courtroom. "I receive a small pension, barely enough for rent and medication. I tried stretching every penny. I sold my jewelry, stopped heating the house, even skipped my own meals. But last week, the food ran out, and last night my grandkids went to sleep crying from hunger." She paused, visibly emotional now, and wiped a tear from her cheek. "I walked into that store thinking maybe someone would help me, but I didn't have the heart to ask any more. I just took one loaf of bread, that's all. I didn't plan it. I didn't think I just couldn't listen to those kids cry another night." The courtroom was still. Even the prosecutor shifted uncomfortably. "I'm not proud of it," she added, "but I would rather face jail than see those babies go another day without food." Her words were raw, honest, heartbreaking. She wasn't making excuses. She wasn't playing for sympathy. She was simply telling the truth. And that truth hurt more than any crime.
The judge looked down at his papers, then back at the woman. He didn't speak for a moment. The weight of the situation was clear on his face. Finally, he turned to the young prosecutor. "Are you seriously pursuing charges in this case?" The prosecutor hesitated. "Technically, Your Honor. Theft is still theft." The judge nodded slowly. "Yes, it is. And technically, I should fine or sentence this woman. But justice isn't only about punishment. It's also about understanding. He turned to the woman again. "Mrs. Thompson, do you have any previous criminal history?" "No, sir." "Never," she replied. "And you admit to what you did?" "I do, Your Honor. I won't lie." He leaned forward and took a deep breath. "Very well. I'm sentencing you to nothing." A gasp rose from the crowd again. The judge held up a hand. "But I'm also doing something else today." He motioned to the bailiff and said, "Please pass around a box. I want everyone in this courtroom to contribute something, whatever they can." People looked stunned, but no one objected. Lawyers, clerks, officers, even those waiting for their own cases began pulling out their wallets. The box made its way around the room as the judge continued. "This woman didn't steal out of greed. She stole out of need, and that's on all of us." By the time the box reached the judge again, it was full overflowing. Even
the bailiff gently placed the full donation box in front of the judge. Everyone waited in silence as he opened the lid and peeked inside. His eyes widened just slightly, then he smiled. "Mrs. Thompson," he said, "you've just received $572.73. The old lady gasped. Her hands covered her mouth. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," the judge replied kindly. "Just promise us you'll use this to buy food, pay bills, and take care of your grandkids. This money isn't just a donation, it's an apology from all of us for letting someone like you fall through the cracks." Tears filled her eyes. "I never expected this. I thought I'd walk out in handcuffs." "No, ma'am," said the bailiff. "You're walking out with hope." The courtroom, usually filled with cold procedure and formal language, suddenly felt like a church or a family gathering. People clapped quietly. Some smiled. Others wiped away tears. Even the prosecutor, the same young man who had insisted on pressing charges, stood and approached her. "I was just doing my job," he said softly. "But your story changed how I look at my job." "I'm sorry." She smiled, trembling. "Thank you, son." As she slowly walked back through the courtroom, people reached out to shake her hand or pat her on the shoulder. Strangers told her she was brave. A young woman whispered, "My grandma raised me too." That day, the courtroom wasn't just a place of joy, it became a place of redemption and humanity. Outside the courthouse, a few reporters who had been covering another case caught wind of the incident. One of them snapped a photo of Mrs. Thompson holding the donation box, smiling through tears. The headline the next day would read, "Guilty but good. Courtroom breaks into tears after old lady's honest confession." But for the people inside that room, no article could capture what really happened. It wasn't about money. It was about kindness, and a reminder that even the smallest act of compassion could change the course of someone's life.
The photo of Mrs. Thompson went viral within 24 hours. By the end of the week, her story had been shared by news stations, influencers, celebrities. Even a retired Supreme Court justice commented on it. People from all over the world sent donations. Some offered to send groceries. Others wanted to help with bills, medical care, even school expenses for the grandchildren. Within days, her small apartment was filled with boxes of food, gift cards, toys, and handwritten letters. One letter from a man in Canada read, "My own grandmother used to steal medicine for me when I was sick. Thank you for reminding the world that love will always be stronger than law." Local charities stepped in. A lawyer volunteered to help her manage the donations. A grocery store offered her a monthly food card for life. The same store where she had taken the bread. They forgave everything and doubled the value of the first donation from the court. But perhaps the biggest impact wasn't just what she received, it was what she gave. Her story started a wave of awareness across the country. People began checking on elderly neighbors. Churches and youth groups organized food drives for grandparents raising children. Politicians even brought up her story. During debates about pension increases and elder care reforms, Mrs. Thompson never saw herself as a hero. She often said, "I just told the truth. I didn't expect anything back." But that's what made her story so powerful. She reminded the world of something we often forget. Behind every face, every struggle, every headline, there's a human being, someone with pain, love, history, and hope. And sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is admit your truth, loud and clear in front of the world. As for the courtroom that day, it became legendary. Students would study it in law school. Judges would reference it in speeches. And everyone who witnessed it firsthand would never forget how one old woman, standing alone, turned a routine court session into a movement of compassion. Because in the end, justice isn't just about laws. It's about mercy. And remembering that sometimes, doing the right thing means breaking the rules, so you can heal a soul.